Cap, it's great to see you. Great to see you in the bunker. So Paul and I have been doing this bunker series since the confinement, since the pandemic has hit us all, and we wanted to kind of talk through what's really happening in different walks in life. So unfiltered, no production, just raw conversation. And we thought it'd be great to get your angle in terms of entertainment, society, and we just wanted to see, how you've been doing through this whole process, and how you guys been keeping, and we'll get into some more, but just let's start with where have you been, how have you guys been keeping, and how's it affected you individually?
So during the pandemic, I've been in Los Angeles and basically just at home and our studio where we recorded the whole album. We were in the process of finishing it before the pandemic happened, and then when it hits, usually people would stop and you get discouraged. But we made it a point let's take this time to zone in and create something that'll provide joy. And are stuck at home right now, and they need something. And music is something that we could provide and keep it alive, and it's became a motivation.
Wow. So what about your appearances, the voice, the VMA concert, which was incredible. You guys were like amazing. How are you handling the voice appearances? Is it still going on? And then how did you guys pull off the whole VMA? Where did the idea come from, and how did you guys execute that?
With the voice, and of course, there's been a lot of Zoom. Zoom. We finished the voice on Zoom. Actually, the final
Really?
stage of the show, and we literally there's a performance part during the finale, which you do a song with the artist, and we literally just recorded it on our cell phones. I did my vocals on a cell phone, and then I had two iPhones to record my lip syncing, and then the other one's recording the vocal, and then as well as the contestants and the artists from the Philippines, they did the same thing, and then and of course ABS-CBN just edited it all together to make it in you perform in a studio. And so we did it all virtually, and and all our appearances, we just been doing it in-house. We were inspired by a couple of virtual studios we were invited, and then we built one in our studio called The Future, and it's basically a virtual stage. And so that's where we did all our guest appearances, from Good Morning America to a lot of European shows to so because with the virtual stage you could just basically imagine anything, and they could basically put it behind you, and it's just a matter of placing yourself, so it makes it more grand than it is. And with the VMA, that's all VMA's production right there. We just showed up, and it was very strict. I just flew back from the Philippines, finishing the voice, and literally they sent a nurse to swab me for 3 days straight before I was able to hop on that stage. And yeah, it's basically it's a VMA's idea. It's a New York rooftop, and everything is just virtual to AR to, you know what I mean? Like, however, like our red carpet was like, it's just
They got, I gotta say, they did a great job. They got great reviews, and it's hard to pull off. I mean, I guess people have terrific imaginations and execute that well. So hats off to that production and your how you guys showed. It was great.
yeah, man. It's you know, we really since we didn't stop like, you know, making music and making appearances, it became like this normal thing. Like you kind of like imagine yourself like, you know, now there's no audience, so you kind of like gotta dig in, like you gotta perform like,
As
you
if
know,
there
you gotta use your imagination, like, oh, there's a crowd there, and so you gotta bring that same energy, you know what I mean? It's like it makes you dig deeper in on what's going on.
So how's life? How do you feel? It feel like it's no different because you're still performing and you're doing it in a different with a different production value, but you're still performing and working. Or do you feel it's different than it was a year ago? You guys feel the same, or you feel different?
Well, it does feel different, but we see it as like we're blessed to be able to work and still
Yeah,
engage. And we have, you know, we're very thankful for all the tools, the, you know, social media. And it's different because we can't tour. We're supposed to be on tour right now. We're supposed to be somewhere in Europe, you know,
yeah,
working the album. But other than that, like, we got to make it happen. Like, however, you know what I mean? So we just
yeah.
been try to be innovative as much as possible. And I feel like you do more personal stuff nowadays. You know what I mean? That's one of the gifts like this pandemic brought, is like, you know, before you had to go to a place and do an
Yeah.
interview, and that shaves off that, like, you know, that's like 3 hours
You
in
got a
a
lot of
day,
time.
you know.
You
And
got
now
time.
you got all the time in the world, and you get to do
I
you
know
get.
you've been working out like a madman. You are so fit, man. I follow you and you're keeping so fit. What got you into fitness that like in that way? Because when I first met you, you weren't into it that way, right? You were in shape from dancing, but you're like a fitness buff now.
Doing TV, man. Doing TV, doing the voice, because
Yeah.
you always get criticized, like, oh, you know, especially in Philippines, it's like there's no breaks, you know. They're like, they say what it is, like, oh, you know, I think Apple's getting chubbier, and you know, you start listening to that. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, you get motivated, and you get motivated, you know what I mean, and like, and of course, like, um us, our you know, as a our crew, our squad, we check on each other, you know what I mean, like, we're like, hey, what's going on, you know what I'm saying, like, I think you've been cooking too much chicken adobo, or, you know, or Will's eating too much Impossible Burgers, and you know, we still gotta like keep that appearance, you know what I mean? Like, and we're not getting younger, so metabolism slows down. So I don't want to be a fat pea, you know what I mean? I can't, you know, I got a feeling that it's gonna be a good dinner night. No, it's gotta be a party all the time.
Yeah, Tony does
Yeah.
that to me. He tells me that I'm getting chubby. So that's how I
True.
try to. That's my motivation right there.
It's like constructive criticism was how we call it as a crew, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, when we write from making music to making beats to writing lyrics, we always like, hey, you know, you could do better. You know what I mean? We always push each other that way, and that becomes not bled into fitness and how appear our
that
our
circle.
appearance are.
When I was at your old studio, because I recorded my first album in your old studio with Poet, and there was really something spiritual in the old, but the one in Glendale, which I
Yeah.
love. It's like special place, and I finished writing my first single, Feel the Light, and I said, Poet, this is great, because he goes, it is great. Now store it, like almost rip it up in your mind, and do it again, but do it better. I'm like, what do you mean? I just finished the song. No, that's not how we do. You think you've done it, now we're going to try to beat it. And when you can't beat it anymore, then you got something that you got. But you don't know yet until you write something that's even better than that. And we ended up writing something, in our mind that was better. So that philosophy is really cool. And I guess it's part of why you guys have been successful. You're perfectionists.
Yeah, man, it's like that's when we write songs, like let's get it started. We got like at least 10 versions,
Yeah.
It's always like, and sometimes we have to stop ourselves, like, okay, like I think we got it now. You know what I mean? You keep like, there's always something to fix. And then we're notorious for like, beating our heads into like, okay. After a while.
Like, not, you've been together so long and together, and you're like, family. Talk to us about your relationship with Will and Taboo, and I guess Fergie, and you brought in Jessica, who appears with you guys now. That you brought in, you discovered her. How's the relationship evolved over time? As you guys have been doing this a long time together. You've really been super successful, and yet it hasn't seemed to change your inner relationships. That there's still that that friendship that started when you guys were kids. How has it evolved? Talk to us about that aspect of it, particularly now that you guys see each other so much.
Oh man, like beyond being in the bandmates and doing music together and in business together, it's family first. Like it's that brotherhood, that friendship, and all of us had that same goal, like me being adopted from the Philippines, wanting to help and provide for my family. Will coming from the East LA, from the ghetto, and as well as Taboo. So we always had that, like, I remember like after shortly at being adopted, the excitement of being in America dissipated, and I wanted to be sent back home. Like, I started to get homesick. And then I remember Will was like, and then we were doing music. He got me into rapping, and he's like, I would like, I would cry. I'm like, you don't want to be sent back home back to my family, and stuff like that. And he's like, don't worry, Ab, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it, and then we're gonna perform back in Philippines in front of your family.
Wow.
So that's like.
Wow.
That we have that connection, like, you know what I mean? And then of course my adopted father, he wanted me to go to school, be a nurse. That's just kidding. And I went into music, and there was I remember there was a talk one day. He sat us down. He's like, talk to me and Will, and it's like, well, Will, I brought Alan here from the Philippines to have an education, but he chose to make music and rap with you. So it's in your hands now. So you know what I mean. So so we just kind of had that bond, like that same goal. Like, yo, we gotta make it, and that gave us the, like, don't take no for an answer. We had to prove ourselves in the music industry. Back in the days, is always, it was predominantly like gangster music, NWA. but we were more into like breakdancing to Far Side to Tribe Called Quest. So it was like, you know, they didn't think it was our music was tangible, you know,
Mhm.
at those times. So we had to like prove ourselves. We had to go to like colleges at like lunchtime and create a following. Like we would literally get people's mail because there's no email or no Facebook or no social media. So we would take people's addresses, and then we would mail them the flyers for the next show. And
Wow.
so, and that's how a way to prove ourselves. And like, so now there's no change. There's nothing changed on how we like, you know, how we are as a crew, as a squad and family, because you know, we it's, you know, before music, it's family. So whenever we do something like, you know, when I brought Jessica, when I discovered her from The Voice, Philippines, and brought her to the US, I'm like, yo, Will's gonna love this girl as much as I do. So as soon as he saw her in my studio room, just like I said, so it's, you know what I mean? It's like the same goal, and it's always kind of moving it forward, and you know, and we've gotten so close that like constructive criticism doesn't usually, it would like hurt people, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you think I was not good enough? No, I just want you to try harder, and that's how we check each other. So
That's
ain't nothing changed.
that's cool.
Yeah, I guess, do you think, now that you can perform virtually, like you said you've been doing with the iPhones, with Zoom, with these virtual studios, do you think that takes the place, at least somewhat, where you don't tour as much? Or, how you've operated before the pandemic, will it change? Or once they find a cure or a vaccine, do you think you go back to what you used to do? Was everything go back to normal? Or will things be different for you, performing and touring wise going forward?
Well, I feel like this is like some of the experience or some of the tools that we've learned and you learned to utilize. I feel like we could combine the both of these things together.
Yeah.
And you know, of course, we're gonna go back to normal, but like now it showed us like, hey, you could like pretty much start a lot of things just via internet or just utilizing all these platforms. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
um, and it's nonstop, man. It's nonstop. Like just today, I'm just like my brain keeps going. I'm like, okay, like, you know, we finished the album and we're going to our last video. Like, what's next? Like, what's
Hmm.
next? Um, like, what can I do next? Like, for the future, especially like, you know what I mean? I just finished doing The Voice Philippines, and I've met so many talented like artists, and but something keeps knocking. Like, what can I gotta do something with these kids, like
Mm.
during this time, like,
Right.
and like, so it's giving me a lot of like different ideas, like on how to record them via just via internet. Like, how can I make that possible, right? So I'm like, you know, I'm like, oh, I could utilize Zoom to like go back and forth with ideas with these kids, and then maybe I could send them like some equipment, and then they could record themselves and then spit it back to me, and then I could put it together. So
Right.
Wow.
it's so, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
never, it's
Yeah.
never ending, and then like there's so many like, and one of the biggest networks from the Philippines like just shut down.
Oh, wow.
And
Which,
there's so many. I'm like, okay, what's going on with all these actors and actresses and artists and writers. I'm like, I could do something with that. Like, and then I'm thinking, I'm like, well, how can I do that during the pandemic? Then I'm like, well, I could create content that, like, I gotta go, stay in the margin of what's going on right now. Like, oh, how can I create content during this time, and the amount of freedom and what you could utilize at this moment. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So it's like, I feel like we're gonna combine these two worlds together. You know what I mean? Like, because for example, like before the translation album, our last tour, people are just like, they just put their phones up while you're performing. And we're like, are they enjoying the show? Because they just want to film, they just want to film and like,
Right.
and then we're like, so that gave us the idea of like AR. While you point your phone, we could create some background stuff that while you're pointing your phone, there's like objects that are appearing like during the show. Now you're just not only you're putting your phone up, now you have some other visuals and like innovative things going on, so yeah, man, just riding the waves, to answer that question, just riding the waves, and I guess melding the two things together and just find the outlet on how we could entertain.
One of my, I think my favorite BP song, and the first one I heard where I kind of just fell for the group and you guys, was "Where Is the Love." You and I actually performed that song together. I don't know if you remember, in the Philippines a few years back, and that song has so much meaning to me and to many others. I'm just wondering, given today's context, more serious note, with all the racial tensions, what does that song mean to you guys, and how do you guys, how are you guys reacting to all this going on? And you've seen this now for years because you wrote about it, but it's not gone away.
Yeah, unfortunately, that song is like the perfect song right now on what's going on with racial tensions and all the negative stuff that's going on. Like that song, it's like, because we were trying to, like, during the translation album, we were kind of like, should we write another "Where's the Love," that kind of song? But the people are the one that asking for "Where's the Love."
Yeah.
They're like, we're like, you know what I mean? It's like they're the one that like start like requesting for that song. Mm-hmm. And then and I think that song touches on, like, unfortunately, some of the subject matter that's still going on these days. And it's the song that like gives you hope and an outlet to kind of like it's a very therapeutic song for people right now, because with all the things that's going on. And
who came up with that idea for that song? Was it you? Who conceived of that song initially, way back when?
So that song actually came from another type of like dark moments in our history. Back in 2000, 2001. Um, um, so we were working on an album, and we were in San Francisco, Bodega Bay,
Hmm.
and then we were in a house in one studio, and we woke up in the middle of the night, and we saw like planes like running through, like smashing through buildings. And I remember Will woke me up, and he's like, yo, 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 look what's going on TV. I'm like, and I woke up and I'm like, is that a movie? You know? And it was 9/11. And and then that happened. And the next day we're supposed to go we were supposed to go on tour. And then once again it's like, and it's very uncertain, like, yo, should we still go on tour? I mean, like, buildings are blowing up, you know and once again we still made it a pact, like, you know what, I feel like this is a calling for us to provide music during these dark times. So we packed up from Bodega Bay, and we're like, let's get out of there before before they bomb the the bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge. And so we decided to go on tour. So we still went around nationally. We did a US tour. And after finishing that tour, that's when we wrote the gift from by doing that was Where's the Love?
Wow.
By seeing what's going on. And then we got in the studio and then wrote Where's the Love? And it's always that same, like, let's provide like therapy for people, because there's so many uncertainty going on, so much negativity. So we went on tour, and then the gift was Where's the Love?
Yeah.
And even like in our careers, we're like, we didn't know what's going on. You're about to be dropped by Interscope, because we didn't meet the quota. And that song like sparked something in us, and that got us like, um, we got to go on tour worldwide with that song, the first one to be recognized. And anyways, but like, yeah, Where's the Love? It's very perfect reflection and how people feel even nowadays.
Yeah. For
Well,
sure.
I gotta ask. So speaking of Where's the Love, and you said that you get a lot of requests for that still to this day. On a lighter note, Tony mentioned just now that you all performed that together in the Philippines. I
Oh
don't
man.
see how could I not ask for a little sample of that when I'm in the presence of both of you. So what are the chances of getting a little sample right now of Where's the Love? Because everyone's requesting it, including me.
We close this out with Where's the Love?
A little sample. Come on, guys. A little
Yeah.
something. You got to give the people what they want.
So
I had to ask.
well,
You want
how did
you
you
want
sing? You sang the
your part?
chorus, right?
You do your part and I'll sing the chorus. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We'll start with me, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. You give me the beat and I'll riff in.
And just to be
Yeah.
clear,
Well.
I'm contributing nothing to this. I'm on the audience.
Okay. So, where is the love? I feel the weight of the world on my shoulder. As I'm getting older, y'all, people gets colder. Most of us only care about money making. Selfishness got us following the wrong direction. Wrong information always shown by the media. Negative images is the main criteria. Infecting the young minds faster than bacteria. Kids wanna act like what they see in the cinemas. Whatever happened to the vows of humanity? Whatever happened to the fairness and equality? Instead of spreading love, we're spreading animosity. Lack of understanding leading us away from unity. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling under. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling down. It's no wonder why sometimes I'm feeling under. Gotta keep my faith alive till love is found. Now ask yourself. Go ahead, Tony.
People dying, children hurting, hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach? Would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. Got me questioning, where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? The love,
the love. Yeah, there you go.
Woo! Love it.
Yeah.
man.
That's awesome. You're a great sport app. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for hanging with us, and keep doing what you're doing. You guys inspire. You inspired me, and you know, you different moments in time that song's been inspirational to me. So when you write music, people say if you inspire one person, you've done your job, and you guys have inspired millions. So keep on keeping on, and thanks for being a friend. And you know, when we do our charity work and do different things, you're the first one out there raising your hand and volunteering to do stuff with us. So much love to you, and regards to the whole gang. And hope you guys. We love Ritmo. I mean, Ritmo is. I mean, J Balvin. How you know that's a sick song, and
Mamacita.
So you guys are, you know, first two out of the bat. It's like, you know, ripping. So it's great to see.
Love the Latin
man.
vibes. Love it.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys. We got more coming up. We got a new a single with Shakira.
Oh wow!
And we're about to film that video. So that's why I'm on my fitness, because you know what I mean. They gotta like match them hips, but not my hips. But you know what I'm saying, with my triceps. No, I'm kidding. That new album is great for working out. You know, for parties, because we made it like into like a kind of DJ playlist where it doesn't stop. So it's good for that. Check out Jessica J Ray Soul got a new project coming up from our label, Los Feliz and Epic.
Well, thank you. Awesome. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.